Christopher Landon has clearly found a niche for the types of films he likes to make, between The Scouts Guides to the Zombie Apocalypse, Happy Death Day 1 and 2, and now 2020's Freaky. Freaky is directed by Christopher Landon and stars Vince Vaughn, Catherine Newton, Celeste O'Connor, and Misha Osherich. I'm a huge fan of both Happy Death Day films, so when I saw the director of both of those movies was directing once again under the banner of Blumhouse, I was interested as to what the film would be. And then I saw that he was doing a Freaky Friday slasher film, and I was intrigued. Then I saw Vince Vaughn was attached, and I was sold. However, now that I have seen the film, I do not think of it that way anymore. Happy Death Day is a hokey movie which plays with horror movie tropes in a fun and intriguing ways. Now, Freaky adds to that with playing of slasher tropes. But there is one distinct difference from both films in my eyes, and that is a charismatic lead actor or actress, in this case, actresses. I never thought I would say this, but Tree is the best part of the Happy Death Day films. She draws the audience in and makes you not only care about the story, but care about her and the other characters around her. And that is something that is severely lacking in Freaky. Nguyen, while doing a fine job with both characters that she plays, is let down by the script and the story. I found no enjoyment out of anything that was relating to her or her character. I was bored with the killing, not only because I was not interested as to what was going on in the story, but none of the kills are fun. Outside of the cold open, there really is not much gore to be had. Now, I understand that this is a PG-13 rated movie, but there are ways to skirt around the MPAA rating system. But if they had just made the character somewhat three-dimensional as Millie or as the killer, it would have made the movie leaps and bounds better, and it would have made me intrigued as to what was going on in her part of the story. It would be a completely different movie if she was somewhat charismatic and pulled the audience in. Now, as for the other half of the film, Vince Vaughn is great in this movie, I think. He was the reason why I was interested in the first place, and he was the only reason why I laughed throughout the entire film. The fish out of water nature of his character is very enjoyable. As for the technical aspects of the film, I really enjoyed the score by Bear McCreary. It felt like a modern horror music with a hint of 80s slashers sewn throughout it. Let's start that again. As for the technical aspects of the film, I really enjoyed the score by Bear McCreary. It felt like modern horror music, but was injected with a hint of 80s slasher music. And I would have liked to have seen a little bit more flair camera-wise from the director, because his camera movements in Happy Death Day 1 and 2 are a important part of that movie that really makes me like it. And while he does do some fun things with the camera in Freaky, it's just not enough to carry it over, in my opinion. And the editing, while sufficient, feels lackluster and more and the editing, while sufficient, feels lackluster in more action-orientated scenes, or scenes that are supposed to be more fast-paced, especially in the finale. I will tell you however, there is one thing about this film that would make me completely change my mind in how I want to rate this. And that, like I already said, is the main character played by Newton. In the beginning of the movie, the screenwriters bash it over the audience's heads that Millie is a bullied and ugly young woman who is hated by everybody at school, while never giving the audience an example or a reason to believe why we are being told this. We see her get one of those, like, when somebody gets up in your face and makes you jump. She gets one of those. There's a bitchy popular girl that makes fun of her. Other than that, that is the extent of the bullying that we see. If you want the audience to believe that this character is downtrodden, is being beaten down, really misses her deceased father, and is being made fun of it every day, you need to show that in the film. You need to give the audience a reason to understand why this character is so disliked at school. Making her the mascot doesn't do the job. We have no reason to understand why she was ever bullied. She's not a new girl. There's not something weird with the rest of her family or anything like that. The screenwriters give you no reason to believe why this girl would be bullied like this that much. And it's really, really a detriment to the film. And then throughout it, they're saying, oh, she's so ugly. And Catherine Newton is just not ugly. It doesn't hit home with anybody. And while the film at times is welcoming of horror movie tropes in positive waves, this film fully embraces the hot actress who is playing an ugly girl, but once you take off her glasses and let her hair down, is a dime piece trope that a lot of movies seem to have in the early 2000s. We've advanced past this. There are reasons in scripts now to understand why this character is so disliked, and it's non existent in this film. It's just not there. Freaky is a fine movie that is really hurt by casting choices, writing choices, and acting choices all around Catherine Newton and her character Millie. I didn't care about her storyline. I didn't care about the character. I didn't think her side of the story was executed well at all, in any way. The character somewhat ruined the movie for me, and that's not a slight at Newton. I have nothing against her. I just did not care for the character that she played in this movie. And worst of all, this movie takes a lot of liberties with realism. I mean, the cops would still check the chainsaw to see if there's any prints on it and then see that they're Millie's prints, right? I'm not losing my mind. Like, they would still check that and still see that she did the kills. They don't try to skirt past that at all. They don't try to give an explanation for it at all. And there are countless cases of stupidity like this throughout the entire film. While I liked Freaky, the parts I liked do not outweigh what I didn't like about it. 59 out of 100.